Everybody's on some sort of journey. How do we learn to enjoy the process? In this clip from a full-length interview, Dr. Kristina Driskill, performance anxiety expert, talks about how to maintain joy in whatever journey we're on.
It's always a perpetual journey.
Yeah.
And the more you delight in that, rather than thinking that like there's going to be this arrival point where I've learned all I need to learn and now I can actually do stuff. I mean, that like the older you get, the more you realize that just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like you learn things and then there's just always something new or always something more or always, a shift or a change, or you grow and then there's something else. And if you don't enjoy it along the way, then that's kind of a bummer, because it's pretty much a majority of your time. Exactly. Everything else is just those little like snapshots in time,
Yeah. And I love you've said this to me before, when you go to perform, this has been so important for me. When you go to perform, whether it's in an audition or a jury or a performance, it's just a snapshot in time. It's not, we want it to be a culmination of all of the work we've put in, but it's just how we are that day.
No, it can't. You talk about pressure. You talk about things that make you feel, something like performance anxiety, thinking that like everything that I've learned up to this point must come to fruition
right now.
Like,
it's this moment.
Right now. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's just a snapshot in time. It's a time for you to say, hey, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can assimilate from what I've learned today in this moment. And to see that as something to be excited about, regardless of what happens, because you'll learn from what happens regardless, and that's the gold, that's what allows us to keep moving forward and keep progressing in our lives in whatever way, so if you see it as that, then, that is success.
Yeah.
If you ask me, that is what success is. Success isn't a certain amount of money or a certain job title or a certain a level of career or being at the top of this or getting this role or something like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things. Those things are all great. But to me, they are not the true definition of success. Success is much more about the journey and what happens along that journey and how you take things in and use things and think along that journey, as opposed to those little snapshots. Those are just cool times where we get to try stuff out and learn from them.
Yeah. And in terms of progress, you said that, like, when you look at a line graph, it looks like it's going like this, but when you zoom in, a lot more like this. And sometimes you find yourself on the day of a performance, like down there,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that doesn't mean that you haven't come up from, where you were before, or you are down there. It's like in the whole perspective of your journey, you're still, on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, I find those moments, I mean, a long time ago I wouldn't have, but now, I really find those moments to be fascinating. And the reason I wouldn't have a long time ago is just because I didn't know better. Mm-hmm. But now I find them just to be fascinating, because it's like, this is where I'm at, or this is what's happening. I wonder what I can do in this state. I wonder what I can do, with this set of circumstances. And it becomes like this fantastic little laboratory, in which you can, just experiment and see what your capacity is, what your threshold is, as a human.
I think it transforms from like, I am a victim of my state today, or my mentality, or what's happening to me, or this person in this room, to empowering, like, okay, this is where I am today. Like, what can I do with that? How can I respond?
This person
learned it from you. Oh wait, that's the wrong way.
No, now you're you're on that one. Oh, you over here? Am I pointing to you now?
No, really. What you're saying was so catalytic in my journey to just stay sane, first of all, in crazy art form. It's not crazy, but it can be very introspective, and you can feel trapped in that. But then move from just like surviving to actually enjoying the process is like another part of that journey, I think. And so thank you for, doing all this work so that we can, be empowered.
My pleasure. I am also one of my longest standing students. So
I love that.
I don't, everything I teach, and I coach on and I consult on and that I've written comes from wanting that knowledge for myself and then doing it myself. I speak to you and to anyone that listens to the things that I talk about from a place of great empathy and understanding, because I didn't decide to just start teaching stuff about something. I went through the process of experiencing it all myself, so I know what it feels like. I know what it's what it's like to have all of those feelings, both physiological feelings, the mindset, and to have to go through the process of shifting that.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful experience to have come through a process like that, and then to be able to share stuff with others.
Yeah.
With over 20 years of performance experience and research, Dr. Kristina Driskill is an expert on performance anxiety and how the brain works. She holds a Doctor of Musical Arts degree, as well as certifications in social emotional arts, business coaching, and money mindset. She's a published author and has built a successful coaching and consulting practice, helping others identify and work through fear-based thoughts and habits. If you want to know more about her, you can check out the description below for more information, as well as links to her website and social media.